I left my fiancé standing at the altar in front of everyone we knew, and I don't regret it for a second. She swore she had my back, but when I looked out into the crowd and saw who she had invited behind my back, I realized I was about to marry a stranger. To understand why I walked out, you have to understand where I came from. My childhood wasn't just tough. It was non-existent. My biological dad left when I was 4. My mom remarried a man who looked me in the eye when I was just 6 years old and told me I would never be his son, that I was just a burden he had to tolerate.
And he meant it.
On the morning of my 18th birthday, I didn't get a cake or a card. My mom woke me up, handed me a suitcase with my belongings, and told me to get out. That was it. I was homeless, unloved, and erased from their lives. I went no contact and rebuilt myself from nothing. Fast forward to meeting my fiancé. I told her everything. I opened up about the scars, the abandonment, the pain. But instead of empathy, she got this fix-it mentality. She kept pushing me to reconnect. When we started planning the wedding, she wouldn't let it go. She kept saying things like, "You should invite your parents. You don't know what's best for you right now, but you'll thank me later." I snapped. I told her, "If you can't respect my trauma, I can't marry you." I thought that was the end of it. I even slept on the couch that night to cool off. But then she escalated things. A few days later, my fiancé came home late. But she wasn't alone. She walked in with my half-sister. Now, I love my sister, but we aren't close, and she lives 45 minutes away. Seeing them together in my living room set off every alarm bell in my head. My sister immediately burst into tears, apologizing. It turned out, she had been feeding my fiancé lies. She had been telling her that deep down, I wanted to reconcile. She was showing my fiancé fake texts or twisting our conversations to make it look like I was just too proud to reach out.
Why?
Because my toxic parents had separated. My mom was miserable, and my sister had this delusional idea that my wedding could be the magical event that brought the happy family back together. I felt sick. My own sister was using me as bait to fix her parents' marriage. I kicked my sister out and told her I was done. Blocked her number. But then I turned to my fiancé. She had been texting my sister behind my back for weeks. She believed my sister's lies over my direct words. I felt betrayed. I told her my trust was broken.
She cried. She begged.
She said she was just trying to save me from my own stubbornness. We agreed to go to couples therapy as a last-ditch effort. And honestly, for a while it worked. Therapy was intense. There was a lot of yelling, a lot of tears. But eventually we had a breakthrough. My fiancé admitted she had a savior complex. She apologized for going behind my back. She looked me in the eye and promised she finally understood. We made a strict agreement. My parents were not invited. My family was not welcome. This wedding was about us. I started to trust her again. I really thought we had fixed it. Then came the wedding day. I was standing at the altar, feeling nervous but happy. I felt like we had survived the storm. My fiancé walked down the aisle, looking beautiful. The ceremony started, and everything felt perfect. When it was time for vows, I pulled out the paper I had written. I started talking about our journey. I spoke about the hard work we did in therapy, about how much it meant to me that we had built a circle of trust and blocked out the toxicity of the past. As I was speaking, I saw her face change. She looked panicked. Her eyes darted toward the back of the venue. I followed her gaze, and my blood ran cold. Sitting there in the back row were my mother and my sister. The air left my lungs. After the therapy, after the promises, after I poured my heart out about how much they hurt me, she had invited them anyway. She had looked me in the face for months and lied, thinking she could force a reunion on my wedding day, and I would just roll over and take it. I stopped reading my vows. The silence in the room was deafening. I looked at my fiancé, and I saw the guilt written all over her face. She reached for my hand, but I pulled away. I turned to the guests. My voice was shaking, but I was loud. I said, "I'd like to take a moment to address something. This day was meant to be a celebration of love, built on trust. We agreed, explicitly, that my abusive family would not be here. But it seems that despite our agreement, my fiancé decided to invite them behind my back. You could hear a pin drop. My fiancé's face turned bright red. I continued, I cannot marry someone who respects me so little. I have to honor myself. I looked at her one last time, turned around, and walked away from the altar. I left her standing there. I walked out of the venue, got in my car, and drove away. My phone blew up for days. She called, texted, begged. My mother and sister tried to reach out. I ignored them all. I went complete radio silence. It's been a few weeks now. I haven't spoken to her since I walked out. It's been incredibly lonely, and part of me is grieving the relationship I thought I had. But I know I made the right choice. If she could betray me like that on the most important day of our lives, what would the rest of the marriage look like? I'm rebuilding again, just like I did when I was 18. But this time, I'm doing it with my dignity intact. But I have to ask you, would you have done the same? If you saw the people who traumatized you sitting at your wedding after your partner promised they wouldn't be there, would you have tried to get through the ceremony? Or was I right to walk away? Let me know what you think in the comments. I really need to know if I took it too far.